Every once in a while, I'll record out of the studio or in my car. And today, I'm in one of my favorite rooms in my house, and I wanted to share this with you because some of my most impactful videos and those which really kind of hit home are those that I record when I'm slightly frustrated. And then all of a sudden I have an aha, right? Where I remember a core principle that I've taught or that I've used in my own business, and then subsequently have a breakthrough. So if you've ever had like that guilty feeling, right? Like I should be making more calls, I should be following up more, I should be sending out more offers, I should handle this email or text or send this thank you note. And that's, by the way, that's Tabitha in the background. That's the best dog ever, by the way. um, I should, go on more appointments this week, or I should get out there faster. If you've ever had that guilt, I want to let you know that I have felt that as an entrepreneur, right? As entrepreneurs, we always feel like we have to do more. We have to grind harder. We have to do more than our competition. The problem with that is that we end up in this cycle of procrastination where those things never get done, or they get done haphazardly, or they just pile up and things start falling through the cracks, right? If you're listening to this, you probably know I'm talking to you. And I have dealt with this too, right? This is a very real podcast. As a matter of fact, this was inspired because my assistant's been asking me to get her something for weeks. And I've been putting it off, putting it off, putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. And I could tell she was really, really, really frustrated with me today. And all of a sudden, I had an aha. And I'm like, why am I doing this project at all, right? I need to hand this over completely to her. And it was something at one of my mobile home parks where something needed to be filled out, and there was a key piece of information that I didn't have that was deep inside Dropbox. And, I was like, okay, I got to find this for her. And then once I give this to her, then she could fill out the paperwork and make that happen. And so all of a sudden I had this aha moment, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, Bridget, I said, here's access to my Dropbox, which she already has, but it was just a reminder. Why don't you dig through my entire file system, find this, and then take care of this, right? I do not have time to deal with this. But the issue was I became the bottleneck in that supply chain, all right? And so the crazy thing is that I'm feeling guilty, she's frustrated, and it's not getting done. And almost every single time that I feel like I should be doing something or I should be doing more of something, the answer is almost I need to delegate it, right? Because when you're really, really excited about something and you're working in, your power zone where it's like something that only you can do, and it's something that you're really, really, really good at, those things rarely get put off. I find that the things I put off, I don't enjoy. They're not really fun. They're not really revenue producing. Sometimes they are, but oftentimes they're not. And oftentimes the end product is not going to be that good. And in the future, the chances of me consistently doing that activity are very, very, very low. So like examples of that would be like managing any kind of administrative work, like I'm the worst. Or if I had to actually like do my own books and gather receipts and report what transactions are, like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to do that. For me, if I had to if I had to do follow-ups with motivated sellers, I know that I am never going to do that in terms of me actually doing it. Now, the thing about that, and by the way, and even meeting with motivated sellers, I know that that's so, 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 so important. But for me, it's an area that I'm past, right? And I am not going to do that. And so whenever I find myself procrastinating or dragging my feet or something that needs to get done that isn't done, The answer is not, I should be doing more of that or I should be more disciplined. That is not the answer. The answer is, number one, you should either be completely delegating that and getting out of the way, or two, not be doing it at all. And so you got to decide, listen, if I've got this one thing that I know that needs to be done in my business, uh, yeah, then it needs to get done. But it doesn't mean that you have to do it. All right. So let go of the guilt. Understand that you probably have strengths as an entrepreneur. Many of us have very, very, very poor follow through, and that's okay, right? Because we understand that we are going to do the things that count. Some of you are really, really great closers. And by the way, if you're not a good closer, make sure that you invest the no limit selling system. If you're listening to this podcast or YouTube video, you probably have bought it, but if you haven't, check out nolimitsalessystem.com. It's the system that I use to talk to motivated sellers, to compress those timelines, to lock up huge spreads, to have a ton of confidence when you're talking to sellers, and to completely eliminate the time wasters. And so if you're like me, you know that meeting with a motivated seller is probably one of the highest income producing things that you can do. Everything else, you need to delegate, or everything else that you are putting off, you need to delegate. And if it doesn't need to get done and you're like, hey, I don't have time for that, it's not really, really, really important, then get rid of it completely. But my message today is, don't feel guilty, okay? Don't feel like you always need to do everything, because you can't. And I can tell you the secret is almost never grinding harder, because you're probably already working hard enough. Now, some of you, work 15, 20 hours a week and expect to make $1 million a year. That's not going to happen unless you obviously build a business, right, that runs without you. So for me, I don't do the marketing. I don't do any kind of lead generation. I don't talk to motivated sellers. For me, I work only through acquisition specialists and joint venture partners. But if we're kind of in the middle there, right, by the way, if you've noticed, I've delegated all that out, right? I've delegated the marketing. I've delegated the follow-up. I've delegated the closing. All my bookkeeping, that's all done and out of my hands. But I still get points where I still have points where I get sucked back in, and I got to reset and say, okay, what do I need to do, right? What do I need to do to pull myself out of the stuff that is making me feel guilty, or that is not getting done, or stuff that needs to get done that I keep forgetting, right? And so a little hint here, I know I'm a little bit all over the place today, but a little hint that you need to delegate something. Is there something in your business that keeps popping up that you're not getting done on a consistent basis, okay? Like bookkeeping, or like follow-up, or sending out offers to every single seller that you talk to, okay? Those are like key things, all right? And just to summarize, I'm gonna start from the beginning of this. If your marketing, it's not going out consistently every single week. If your follow-up on talking to those motivated sellers, you're not doing that every single day and hitting every single lead in your database, at least every 90 days. Hopefully you're hitting everybody every 6 weeks. If your sellers aren't getting a written offer, every single person that you talk to, especially the cold leads, if you're not meeting with enough sellers, if you're not administratively getting your stuff in order, like getting your closing statements and making sure that all your wires are in and making sure all that stuff gets reported to your bookkeeper without your personal involvement, then you need to delegate. You need to free yourself. And I got to tell you, sometimes it's scary, but delegating and freeing yourself and letting go, man, oh man, it is amazing. And so I know it's scary. I know it's uncomfortable. I know we want to hold on to some things, but I guarantee you probably suck, if you're listening to this, at almost everything except for meeting with motivated sellers, because you listen to this podcast. And so my goal for you is to stop feeling guilty, right? And understand, hey, you know what? You don't need to do more. You need to delegate more. Okay, you need to lead more. There's a great saying that I learned from John Maxwell, and actually one of my team members. And John Maxwell said he saw it somewhere in the Atlanta airport, and that is, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Okay. If you're going fast, you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, stuff's going to fall through the cracks, your stress is going to go up. But if you've got a team, which doesn't cost that much money, right? But if you've got a team, you can have people who will pick up where you leave off. Okay. You can focus on your strengths, they can focus on their strengths, and business gets a lot more fun. I'm not telling you this never happens to me, but whenever I reevaluate, man, I am so free. So going back to that task that I just talked about with Bridget, is I immediately got out of the way, right? Gave her more freedom. I empowered her more, gave her the tools, and she handled that project. And obviously it's not only that, but there's a million other things that if you get out of the way, your team will help you grow your business more than you ever thought possible. So I hope you enjoyed today's fireside chat. I don't have a fire on. It's the middle of the summer. But I'd love to have your feedback on this video, maybe where, or podcast, by the way, if you're listening to this, where you are maybe being overwhelmed, or maybe you feel guilty, or maybe you're not doing enough of something, or maybe where you got some fear going on, right? Maybe you're scared to hire somebody, or to let go of something, or to think that you are going to lose out on something because you bring somebody on your team. So I'd love that feedback. If you want to hit me up on Instagram, you can get me at Todd Toback. I'd love to hear from you, and I will talk to you on the next episode. Bye.